Hello, amazing parents. How are you doing today? I wanted to get on here and share something that's been on my mind for a while that I felt like I needed to share. And that is the topic of demanding parenting. So, when you think of a demanding parent, you probably think of a very harsh, overbearing, authoritarian, dictatorial type parent. And that's definitely the extreme version of a demanding parent. But um, there are a lot of more subtle ways and covert ways that we can fall into the trap of being a demanding parent without even knowing it. The reality is, a lot of the ways, traditional ways of parenting, require that the parent demands their own way. And if the child doesn't comply, then there are consequences, either loss of privileges, corporal punishment, grounding, timeout. All of those things are a form of coercion and things that you can use because you have the power to do that. You're controlling your child. So any kind of controlling or demanding behavior is a setup for programming your child in a way that won't serve him well later in life. So what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, psychologists tell us that every relationship your child has in life will be modeled after the one he has with you. So the way you interact with your child is going to determine how he interacts with other people all through his life. So you're laying that foundation of relational intelligence. And so anytime you kind of pull rank and use your authority and your power over your child to get what you want, you're teaching him to do the same thing when he's in that position of control. So either with a spouse or with an employee, a friend, a boss, a child, it perpetuates because our children learn relationships through the relationship they have with us. So we talked about, if you're overtly demanding, that's one thing, but by using any kind of control or manipulation in order to coerce your child, you're still demanding your way. It's like, if you don't do what I say, do this or else. So that's a demand. You're placing a demand on your child. You're saying, clean your room or you can't watch TV. Now, I'm not saying that you should allow your child to call the shots, and if he doesn't want to do what you say, you just let him have his own way. Not at all. But I'm talking about engaging our children and empowering them rather than being overbearing and demanding. And of course, the ways to do that are in other videos, but today I just want to talk briefly about why we need to reevaluate our approach to parenting. And so if we raise our kids with that overpowering parenting model, which, as I said, could be covert or overt or covert, and most of us fall into the covert. We don't even know we're doing it. We were just parenting the way everybody parents, right? You're the boss. You tell them what to do. If they don't do it, there's consequences, and that's how you get your way. And so we're raising children then that go into society, and that's how they get their way. They make demands, threats, coercion, manipulation, if you then I kind of relationships, which are all very codependent and unstable and unhealthy. So if you think about how God relates to us and engages us, he doesn't demand anything from us. He doesn't demand obedience. He gives us free will to choose him, free will to choose whether or not we will even listen to him, on a daily basis. And it isn't, if you don't, then I will do this. Now, we learn through the process of growing in maturity with our relationship with the Lord that his way always works out the best. It's not always easy for us to discern it. It's not always easy for us to choose it. But, we learn that. And our children have to learn that too, that the things that we require of them or that we request, or however you want to say it, it's because we have their best interests at heart. And so we the Father, our Father, leads us with kindness. He draws us with love. We always have to lead with love. And although I know, because I'm a parent, you always want what's best for your child. It's just the method of communicating that to your child determines whether or not they understand that or not. So if you want to communicate love to your child, you want to empower him rather than overpower him. And so that would involve, when I talk about using the power of words to create the kind of behavior you want, or even to create character traits, using those kind of tools, engaging their heart, understanding what's going on inside of them, why there's resistance, why they're not cooperating. And this isn't anything about asking them why. That's the worst question you can ask a child. They don't know why they do things. They're very impulsive and just reactive. And so asking them why is just, it's confusing to them, and it's not going to get you anywhere, because if they say, I didn't want to, then where does that get you? Why didn't you clean up your room? I didn't want to. I wanted to watch TV. But with connecting with the heart. So if you haven't watched that video, find that one and watch how to connect with your child's heart. And then that's where you gain true influence. So using these tools to engage them and then empower them to choose to do what you ask is really what it's all about as a parent. It takes a lot of self-discipline on our part, and the weight falls on us, because when we demand, we're putting the weight on the child and just saying, do it whether you like it or not. And that's not creating relationship. It's not teaching them how to solve problems, how to resolve conflicts, how to you make decisions, and how to make choices. And so by taking the time to learn the things that I'm teaching you on this channel and in my Facebook group, then in the workshop, then you're learning how to be a parent rather than just demanding your child do what you want without you putting any demand on yourself to learn and to grow in your ability to engage them. So back to the demanding parent. When we demand things, we're programming our child's heart. We always are programming our child's heart, and we're scripting the rest of their life. And so we're writing on their heart with the way we interact with them, the things we say to them, how we respond to them. And so by being demanding, we're just teaching them to be demanding. And so what happens is, if you have a father that's demanding, well, boys usually emulate their father when they grow up, and girls usually emulate their mother. And so when a boy grows up with a demanding, controlling father, he's going to grow up to be demanding and controlling. Well, in a situation like that, if the mom then just takes it and just either believes she's supposed to, just do whatever dad says and not have a voice and just allow him to be that way, and she just kind of bows to that and just plays along and plays the quote unquote submissive wife that we all hear about in church, which has been totally misconstrued. But that's been a model that's been presented to us. And so when that happens, then the girl grows up and she is groomed to be a perfect victim, and the boys are groomed to be perfect controlling. Extreme example of that is abusive. And so that's what happened to me. My father was very demanding and overbearing, and not in an ugly, mean way, but he was very strong and outspoken and just demanded his way. And my mom was very quiet and submissive. And so I grew up and I became this very passive, very, I had no voice. And so we don't want that to happen to our kids. We want them to know that their voice is important, and that we're here to hear what they have to say and understand their heart. This isn't about logic and reasoning. If you haven't watched The Power of Words, you need to watch that and learn how, and also understanding your children. That's actually most important. If you haven't watched Understanding Your Children, you need to watch that, because we can't reason with kids that are under the age of 13. Their logic and reasoning hasn't been developed Now they're practicing before that, but age 13 is when that begins to really be, their brain is developed to that point, because the brain develops from the bottom up, and the frontal lobe is where logic and reasoning happens. And so that hasn't developed until about age 13. So it's not about logic and reasoning. And thank goodness, it's actually, God has rigged it so much in our favor that it's much easier to lead a child, because they don't have that ability to judge, evaluate, choose. We just lead them in the way they should go, and they just follow because they believe. But when we place demands on them and we get into that resistance parenting, and we, can easily overpower them when they're young children, and we always get our way, we're just teaching them to operate that way in their own life. So we're either creating the overbearing one or the passive, submissive one that always gets taken advantage of. So I haven't given you a lot of hardcore tools in this video, but I just wanted to bring up this topic of just to evaluate how much are you demanding your way. Because we get on our kids, if they demand their way, we're like, oh no, baby, it's my way or the highway. And we're doing the exact same thing we're telling them not to do, which is to be demanding and demand your own way. But the traditional model of parenting is basically parents demanding their own way and using their authority and position of power over their children to basically be able to do that. So your child's at your at your beck and call. You provide shelter, food, everything for your child. So you have that control. But again, we want to look back to God. God could smash us. He could slap us. He could punish us. He could take things away, and a lot of people see God that way because that's the way they were raised. But he isn't that way. He leads us with kindness and with love, and he gives and gives and gives of himself until we recognize that, he's good. He has my best interests at heart. Again, I'm not advocating that you be a doormat parent, let your child run the show, not at all. In fact, the tools that I share with you in my trainings will actually make you much more effective as a parent and will equip you to put your kids on autopilot so they will be self-directed, so you don't have to constantly monitor and police them. So I hope this has been helpful today. Like and subscribe. Appreciate your following, and share with your friends. God bless and have a great day.